Hello, welcome to the Steam Release Podcast. This is your host, Dewey Bear, and joining me today is the illustrious, the festive, and the fabulous Rhode Pie.
Hey, hi.
And with his dulcet tones and delightful demeanor, we have Tommybyrd.
I love the alliteration.
Yes.
Yes. Hello. Welcome, everybody.
I came up with that on the spot, so I had to think.
I'm so proud of you. That was awesome.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Welcome. And of course, we are all here because we all like Steam games, and particularly independent Steam games that might get overlooked because so many... How do I put this friendly? There's a lot of dross. There's a lot of dross that can end up on the Steam store due to, there's not really a barrier of entry, which has some upsides and has some downsides.
Where you see a lot of downsides.
Yeah, especially when we do the dishonorable list, which is not going to happen this week because we have a special segment that we will get to. But
yes.
So yeah, but instead we help find all the sort of hidden gems that are out there. Also, I have this on a random game at the moment. Just a random game. Just cause I need to put this is a new overlay, so I'm gonna get a nice little backdrop that I can put up when we don't have a game in. But for now, you're just looking at Captive's Plot of the Demiurge, which is one of the games on my wish list. Just if you're curious. Alrighty. And so, with that, just get to the start of it. What have y'all been up to? Let's start with Tommybyrd. You haven't been here for a while. Well, what games have you been up to?
1 month to the day.
To the day.
I'm not keeping track. But it was mostly I was watching the last video because I needed to remember something. Let's see. Lately, I was playing some Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. My God. So Star Wars Sekiro, that game is fun. Hard as ever. And then I gave a really hard try to Disco Elysium, and by goodness, I did not like that game. Just not my cup of tea.
Really?
No, it was the point and click for me was a mess. It's kind of bleh to look at times. The story was interesting, but there were so many like interruptions and stuff that no, it wasn't my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
So that's at least on my end, and of course that won a big award. The people
It won four different awards at the Steam Game Awards.
Like, cool. This should be good. Okay, let's give it a shot. And just not my cup of tea.
May have to be in a special mood. I did like. Anyhow, a lot of people like this has been a pretty exciting for some 8,000 people who've reviewed it. But yeah, it's not gonna match everyone's cup of tea for sure.
No.
Right.
And then otherwise, VR games galore. We've been doing that over on the YouTube channel. Did a couple of they added a couple more missions to I Expect You to Die, so we played through that. And then we did the little indie game that no one's ever heard of Five Nights at Freddy's. At least we've been trying to record that. We have nothing on the channel yet because I've had nothing but technical issues while trying to record it. But yeah, I've been playing that little indie darling that no one's ever heard of.
Oh yeah, five. Yeah. That's a big case of nope. Was it Five Nights at Freddy's? Yes.
Yeah, especially in VR.
That just seems, unpleasant.
I'm because of course, like the original game itself is not a pretty game. It was a interesting horror game in certain aspects, but it wasn't pretty. And then here we are years later, and this feels more like a AAA title, decent studio behind it. And then of course you throw it in VR for something different, and I was able to make it through the first night, which I'm still sad that the video recording didn't make it through because I was a grown ass man crying. It was bad. It was real bad. But yeah,
Technical difficulties will lay the strongest willed person low.
Yeah, not only did I record like the wrong video output because I had the great Tom computer crash of 2019 that was not porn related, because you can find that for free on the internet, but no one believes me anyway, of 2019. And I had to reformat the computer, so all my settings got rechanged. Like, so I had that, and then also there was a big overlay that was magically sitting in the middle of it, so you couldn't see half the image anyway. It's like,
Oh my god!
but hey, we got a Steam release. I need to shut up.
It's just quick send them the hotline number. Oh my word, that is soul crushing. I've done that before, where I recorded a whole bunch and there's just like, none of it's usable. Or let me see, I did like an hour-long stream or something, and there was something inherently wrong with it. I was just like, I was not showing the game. That's right. Like the game wasn't on game capture. Like, I was just like, no. Like it had switched to a different panel or something, and that's.
Oh my god.
I was just like, why? Why?
Yeah, I feel you, my friend. I feel
absolute despair. So I feel you. Enough of the despair, though. Really, what have you been up to?
So I played a little bit more of Art School. Try to get a bit more into it. See, actually get a piece of art evaluated and see how it works and everything. So the projects that they give you, there's like, I think there's 50 project titles they can give you. Draw a technical drawing of a or intricate drawing of an aircon of some air conditioner. It was like, okay. So I think it's a bit like Passepartout. As long as you like spend enough time on it, it will give you a pretty good rating. Now, when I'm looking at the title here, the trailer, the sky, it's all like these very nice bright colors, these nice clouds and everything like that. When you're in the actual world, it's got like this fuzzy, like broken, there you go, that broken TV static. Kind of static, and it feels so oppressive. It feels so oppressive when you're walking around, and also it doesn't. I was like drawing what was in front of me as the air conditioner, and it looked like this like very intricate thing, and I thought, oh, maybe in this world that's what an air conditioner is. And then I walked into it, because when I read when you went to evaluate something you have to walk, and I was like, oh, I've got to use WASD. Okay, yeah, that's what that walked. So I walked into it, and it was actually a color palette. So you're picking up different color palettes, which are not obvious. Tools as well, which are not obvious. So yeah, you got to do a lot of exploration and everything. So, but yeah, the trailer looks a lot brighter and a bit more, I don't know, just better stylized than the actual game.
Maybe you have to unlock blue skies.
I know. Maybe I was getting good grades. I was getting B's and B pluses and stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah,
so yeah, I also played another 2 hidden object games. So the first one was King's Heir: Rise to the Throne. And I had actually playtested this, and it got you to when you playtest it. Usually in hidden object games, it cuts you off at sort of like a cliffhanger point, and the cliffhanger was that someone was trying to hang you. It was really like an interesting story. So you find ferrying the king to back to his castle and everything, and then you get stopped by the guards and the bridge is out, so you have to go and repair it. And then when you come back, the king's been assassinated and someone has implicated you as doing the deed. So you have to sort of try and clear your name, and you also find out that your brother is actually adopted and he's actually the king's son. So you're trying to get him on the throne. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's quite interesting. There's just a couple of things that let it down, and that's the sort of fighting system. So when you're coming up against guards and you have to fight them, you've got to kind of do this kind of line puzzle where you can't go over the same sort of line. You got to fill in all the lines, and you can't go over the same bit twice, sort of thing. But you have to do that sometimes 3 times against one enemy, and it's just like, oh god, this is so repetitive. Could you not have found something, I don't know, a bit more quick and more interesting to keep up with the fast pace of feeling of fighting somebody, you know?
Ooh, wow.
And I played Noir Chronicles. Well, I'm currently playing that. Oh my god, this is an absolute mess of a game.
Oh no.
It's Noir Chronicles City of Crime. And you're sort of you play as a private detective, and an old flame of yours gives you a phone call saying that they're being attacked, and you go over there and they've been murdered, and you've got to find out who the killer is. Now, that sounds like fairly interesting, enough. The blonde bombshell who's murdered, who's your ex-lover, you think... Yeah, she's... doesn't look like a blonde bombshell, and she's supposed to have all these lovers and everything. She looks... And I don't mean to be rude, but she looks like an older... She looks like a 50-year-old mum, in the...
Some people are into that. Huh?
Yeah, no, I know some people are into that, but this is supposed to be. It wasn't just when it wasn't. I checked because it wasn't just me who had an issue with this, but it just looked like what? It just didn't fit with
kink shaming. That's what's going on here.
It just didn't match like what they were saying. What was the setup for the story, and it just looked like a complete mess. Everyone in it, nearly everyone in it, has an English accent, and it definitely isn't set in England. the house, the person who's murdered, I think they were a journalist, and you go to their home, and it looks, and that's like the first scene that you kind of do, and it looks like a scary, spooky house, and it's like, why have you set this as a scary, spooky house when this is supposed to be, a modern journalist sort of thing? It just makes no sense.
It sounds
like just an asset flip from something else.
Yeah, and it's really surprising because the publisher is Artifix Mundi. The developer is Big Giant, who they have some interesting titles, but they never make anything as bad as what this is.
Yeah, no kidding.
It sounds like what might have happened is like they just kind of it sounds like they outsourced the art possibly, and they're like, oh hey, we need a scene like this, and they may not have had their story completely figured out before then. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
I still like the PG like Bond woman name with Barbara Lepore.
well, the thing is, interestingly enough, a lot of the puzzles involve cats, or you've got to find cat figurines or whatever. So
she's a cat lady.
She is a cat lady. Yeah,
she's a late 50-year-old cat lady
that everyone just really has the hots for.
Yeah, no, really, she was dating like a leader of the mob gang. She dated the detective. She also dated like one of the top detective police officers as well, and a few others. And it was just like, what?
It's like, what? What am I doing wrong with my life?
I know.
New goal. I need to become a 50-plus-year-old cat lady.
Cat lady, yes.
That's how I'm going to get everyone after me.
Bring all the boys to the yard.
Milkshake.
Oh, then I also noticed, like, for example, the King's Heir, the art for that was just fantastic, stellar. While this one's more, it's not bad art, but it's just kind of,
Yeah.
I've seen this like whenever I used to go to the store and grab like the hidden object game CDs at like Wally World or Target. And, like, look at the back. That's kind of the artwork that I was used to seeing on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other games?
No, that's it. What about you, Dewey? What have you been playing?
I do believe I'm getting like this last week and this week confused in my brain. I'm pretty sure I played My Time at Portia last week. This week, it's been more Slay the Spire. I'll have to admit, it's been more Slay the Spire.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast, the Intervention Podcast.
Yes.
We didn't tell you that that's what this week was going to be.
Yes.
Our top list, which is coming up later, is our list of reasons why we love you, and you need to stop playing that for 5 minutes at a time and go outside and go for a walk.
Yeah. So between like packing up my stuff, getting ready for the move, and getting ready for the flight up to visit home, because like what's going to happen? I'm going to go home, I'm going to come back, and I have to move. So that's basically what it's going to be. So I'm preparing to go visit family, and I'm preparing to move. And when I'm just kind of like exhausted after it, it's been Slay the Spire, which is an excellent game. It really is. I feel like it was personally snubbed at the Game Awards now. But yes, so that's pretty much all I've been playing. Oh, I did kind of dip my toe back into Final Fantasy 14 a little bit. Just kind of signed back in and was like, I need to get back to this game because I work in a very like mentally taxing job. I'm not saying like I'm a rocket surgeon or anything. I'm just a QA tester, but there's definitely been a lot of stuff going on and having to learn there and stuff. And I come home and I'm mentally exhausted. I'm catching up. I'm finally catching up with what we're doing. So I'm just finally like, oh man, Final Fantasy 14. I need to get to Shadowbringers. So there's that too. But yeah,
I hope you're able to make it to the new expansion soon.
Before the next one comes out.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Alrighty. But yeah, and I guess before we get on to the honorable mentions, we do have one little more conversation piece since this is a special week. And it's because this is the last show that we're doing in 2019. Before the holiday break, and it is the last show that we're doing to kind of cap off a full decade of games. So we're entering the 20s. And I just have to say, like, just personal thoughts. For indie games, 2011 was so incredibly different, or 2010 was so incredibly different from 2019.
Oh yeah.
Like what kind of games are available? Like Steam wasn't really that big of an indie platform. It mostly just had Steam, like Valve developed games, and maybe a few other like from other game companies. Now
they took over the world.
Like the Xbox 360 had a pretty decent indie scene, I think, in the early 2010s. And now we come to the end of the 2010s. Steam has thousands of like, what is it? I think 40,000 indie games just tagged with indie. And they also have, and of course now the Switch, Nintendo has become the indie. How did that happen?
No one thought, because they were so self-absorbed. Mine is like the Wii with all the shovelware stuff. It was a miracle that they didn't jump more indie prior, but yeah, the Switch becoming the indie darling.
Yeah. And then, so it's just so much has changed, I feel like, and now we're starting 2020 at that point. It's like, ooh, I'm excited for the next decade. It's gonna. I think it's gonna be really great because because with Nintendo, I mean, and they ended their really archaic content policies where they wouldn't let people stream their games, etc. So Nintendo finally caught up to the 21st century. Basically, that it took them 19 years or 18 years, but they caught up to the 21st century. So, So I'm just curious. What are your thoughts on the last decade?
Go already.
So yeah, I was introduced to Steam by my brother because I was really struggling for like hard copies of video games to play for my PC. I didn't really have a console actually I'd won an Xbox but I just couldn't afford the games. So it was like, what do I do? What do I do? And my brother said, you checked out this platform called Steam. It's, you can download like fairly cheap games on there, and maybe you'll be able to find something, that you really like. And he was right. So I picked up a few games, and I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And now there are more games for me than I never thought that was possible. I thought that I wouldn't, because they weren't developing games that I was into. I was just going to like not have this as a hobby anymore, basically, because I thought they're not making games that I like anymore. So, which were kind of point and click, very narrative heavy. They were making more sort of 3D platformer games at that time, which I wasn't really that into. And I gave them a good go, but it wasn't really for me. And I just wanted something really weird and wonderful, and Steam came along. But what about you, Tommy? What are your thoughts?
I know a lot of what I'm thinking echoes Dewey very heavily of where indie was back in like the 2010 2011 compared to where it is now. We had like a big a game indie that hit mainstream this year out of nowhere. It's actually, and I'm leaving the title out, and the exact reason I'm giving right now is the reason why I put it on my top 5 is because it broke through to mainstream. Yeah, exactly. It made it through to mainstream media, and it just kind of boggles my mind that like your very small teams, your single couple people teams are finally getting like the recognition out there. Yeah, there's a lot of rough stuff out there. There's a lot of there's a lot of gray area on Steam that's a little bit of a pain with how they were doing their rules, but going away from the negative crap, it is amazing to see where like indie games were to where they are now. It's and especially like what we were saying with Nintendo, who thought the Switch would have been like your good portable indie game. Like no one saw that coming, and I know when the Switch first came out, it was like, oh cool, you have Breath of the Wild, and then what? Like we have to wait for a Mario game, we have to wait for this, and they're like, no, we're gonna put indie games on here. It's like, oh, this is brilliant. Yes, finally they're coming along with the rest of the world. But I recently did like a top 10 games of all time, and I noticed like one of my top 2 games was an indie game that just came out a couple years ago. So it's kind of cool to see what people can do, and now they've got more accessible platforms to do it.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely there's a lot of good things coming up, and if you look at, I kind of was just sort of reviewing as I was like composing my list. I was also kind of reviewing like what are the games that Steam thought were the best games. I'm just kind of scrolling through, and I didn't even filter by indie, and I was just going like, wow, there's some of these games that had no publisher. They were just a small, like there were even some solo devs, and it's like, here they are with tens of thousands of reviews and probably millions of sales. Because, I mean, it's generally only like 1% of people who will bother to write a review. So it's kind of generally in that ballpark. And it's just like, wow. That's just it's cool that it's possible. I mean, being a writer, it's sort of the maturing of the internet, because when I started writing, you went to publishing houses. And now publishers don't accept manuscripts. They're looking at the indie publishing, and they're like, "Oh, who's the good perennial author?" And then they hire them, and that's how you get a publishing contract, at least for fiction. You either have to be famous already in order to get a publishing contract, or they find you from like, "Oh, look, these guys are real wit," and then they get a good sales, and it's fascinating how that has changed.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think 2020 is going to be a good decade. The 20s.
It'll be fun to see, like, if we get to look back on where indies are in 10 years from now. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I hope there'll still be games made for me.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think so. Especially with you have there's so many teams like Poland has really become a really big country especially when it comes to sort of point and click and very narrative heavy games. They've been doing a lot of that lately. A lot of the really great studios are based out of Poland now. It's also internationalized. That's another thing. If you look at the indie games from early 2010s, you had some European games, you had some East Asian games, and like specifically East Asian as in Japan, maybe Taiwan, and maybe an occasional Thailand game. Now you've got Malaysia, you've got Latin America, you've got Eastern Europe. We get flooded with games from all over the world now, and that's amazing. So it's so different nowadays. So that is cool. And speaking about games from all over the world, let's get to that list. So
2 hours later.
2 hours later, yes. And to start, we have some honorable mentions real quick, starting with Frog Detective 2, The Case of the Invisible Wizard.
Normally I'd have my reading ready to go. Nope. You're a detective and a frog, and it's time to solve a mystery. Also, there's a wizard.
That's short and sweet.
I mean, this is a great point and click game. It is an hour long.
Ooh,
so
for $5.
Yeah.
But you can get Frog Detective 1 and 2 together for $10 or on sale for $8.53.
1 is probably the same length, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
That's still besides the point.
Yeah.
It's cute, kind of like cute. It looks like low budget Amazing Frog.
Amazing Frog?
Oh yeah, I forgot the question mark at the end. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Amazing Frog?
Amazing Frog. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Well, next title.
Yeah, that's £3.59 and 10% off right now.
Yep. All right. Our next honorable mention is The Secret of Hutton Grammar School.
Uncover the secrets of a mysterious cult in the Secret of Hutton Church of England Grammar School VGA edition.
So this is actually an old game that's basically gotten kind of a touch of paint, right?
Yeah. And it's only 71p. So, yeah.
Yeah, 89 cents on sale US.
I imagine this is on Rhode's wish list, if you don't already have it.
I don't know, because there's some like retro point and click games that I'm not really that into. But and this wasn't on my radar when this first came out, but it's, I don't know, it looks I might point some people towards it, and I'd probably watch them play it.
Gotcha. I mean, for still like under $1.
Yeah. Not on your watch. Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not. Like if you're into point and clicks, this seems like something to check out. Alrighty. And yeah, it's 89 cents US. So our next title is Steins Gate, My Darling's Embrace.
Fall in love with the lab members all over again in the sweet and slapstick romantic comedy. It's a visual novel.
Yeah, and this is Steins Gate's like it's like such a big series, and the visual novels are very, very long as well. So
I would hope for $30.
yeah. So be very prepared. Yeah, be prepared to get a sore bum going through this. Basically, it's so long.
Why would my butt hurt? What does this game do to me?
All right, yeah, it's $26.99.
Yeah, 10% off right now. It's £21.41.
That's not bad. Our next title is actually just a DLC for a game we talked about last week. Kyle is Santa.
Yeah, I've got no simple text on this one. In cold, barren midwinter, a soul figure rises from his slumber. Kyle, reading his day, looks on that which he will encounter. Oh my goodness, why are there elves growing skin? Who gave that child a claymore? Why is Rachel turning into a pus lump of flesh?
Where'd you read that?
About this content.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what? Okay.
Tommy's having a stroke.
All right, cool. Awesome. So yeah, this is sort of that it's a word game, kind of like Cards Against Humanity. It's kind of a similar idea. But yeah, it's very simple, and the expansion's only $2.54.
15% off right now. It's £1.77. Yep. And you need to have the base game to play it, of course.
Yes.
And the base game is free.
Mm-hmm.
On the theme of DLC, we have Deep Sky Derelicts is a game that we talked about early this year, and they just released a DLC called Station Life.
Station Life, second expansion of the Deep Sky Derelicts that, as its name suggests, focuses on turning the station, your scavenger home and safe haven, into a livelier and more varied place to be. A more useful and versatile hub of scavenging operations and a more compelling experience overall.
Yeah, it's really cool that this is getting an update. I guess it's sort of like a Darkest Dungeon-like game, I think. The aesthetic is very similar, but I know there's definite mechanic differences. But yeah, Deep Sky Derelicts. Oh, and it is $6.99 US.
$5.99 UK.
Yeah, cool, awesome. And now to cap off our list, we have a few demos. Yes, Your Grace is the first one.
These are troubling times, Your Grace. The petitioner's petty matters exceed our limited resources, to say nothing of the war. A careful balance must be struck. Your throne awaits.
I watched someone play the demo, and it looks amazing. I didn't like think too much of it when looking at the trailer, but there's so much intrigue going on, and you'll get your daily, you've got to decide make a decision on these people that come to you and ask you for help, and then afterwards you got to go around the castle and deal with your family, and there's war encroaching on your kingdom, and it sort of ends in the end of the demo. It has like a wedding, so it leaves on a cliffhanger. It's amazing. I recommend this fully. Definitely give the demo a go.
And I have to say, the pixel art is excellent.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful looking game. My word.
I have to try this. I'm curious what the price point's going to be when it actually is released.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's currently on my wish list right now.
Yeah, this is going on my wish list. Alrighty. So the next two demos, unfortunately, no longer available because they're only up for 48 hours.
Oh.
But we will mention them anyway because they are some pretty interesting games to look out for. So we have first Eastward,
In a beautifully detailed and charming post-apocalyptic world, a miner discovers a mysterious little girl named Sam deep underground in a secret facility. Journey through decaying cities, encountering strange creatures and even stranger people along the way.
So I am kicking myself for not catching this demo because it was already on my wish list. And I'm like, no!
Same. I hadn't noticed. I'm surprised I didn't let people know. I suppose you've got to put it on follow, to get these notifications. And I only noticed when we were going through the list looking for things, but yeah.
Well, it's dated for coming soon, but it may not come out in 2020 because it doesn't have a set year yet. But it has been in development for a while. I believe we first heard about this game in 2018. So they're working on it, and it looks really great. So them putting out a demo is a good sign.
Yeah.
All right. And our other game that also had a 48-hour trailer was demo was Spiritfarer.
It's a cozy management game about dying. As ferry master to the deceased build, about to explore the world, care for your spirit friends, and guide them across mystical seas to finally release them into the afterlife. What will you leave behind?
It's so pretty looking. I really like the artwork, and I like that, you're also building your boat, and there's buy and sell stuff, and just resources and everything, going after resources. You've got all these animals on your deck and on your boat. It's just so charming. I've got this on my wish list for sure.
It is kind of interesting that you're playing what is effectively the Grim Reaper, though. Or maybe not you're the boatman. You're the boatman across the river Styx, basically.
Yeah.
So that is pretty interesting of a concept. That it's so pretty and lighthearted, but it's actually about a pretty sad thing.
yeah, definitely.
And so I just think that's really neat. It's not only did the living people that cared about these people miss them, but now the person who's guiding them to the afterlife is also going to miss them. So that's aw, that seems really sad.
Yeah.
This one's on my wish list as well. I'm not sure if I'll like it gameplay-wise, so I will definitely look forward to seeing that. But yeah, it is. They had a demo, and it will be released sometime in 2020. Okay. With all that, we can get to the actual release list now. And we're going to start with Wednesday, 11th of December. And it is Vampire the Masquerade, but not the game. It's a visual novel that's connected to the game. Coteries of New York.
Coteries of New York is a single-player narrative experience set in a rich, fully licensed universe of Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. It presents the struggle of power between two vampiric factions, Camarilla and Anarchs, among the iconic buildings and night lights of Big Apple.
This is standing currently at mixed. It's 65%. I think a lot of it has to do with people who liked the original game got this,
thinking it would be more like that, and this is a whole different thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is ultimately, this is a book, not a game. 14 hours, 100% achievements. It wasn't worth it. And it's
it's a visual novel, though.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a visual novel.
Novel is in the genre. Yeah,
but obviously people weren't looking at the tags or anything like that. They just saw Vampire the Masquerade. It's oh, here's a new entry in that.
I also think that the developers maybe went with, because the title is so big with fans. I don't think they maybe didn't do such a great job with it being an actual visual novel. There's some people saying that the choices didn't matter or anything. And visual novels, there is a lot of work that goes into it because there's so many different. You got to work out all the different paths that you can go down, and each choice is supposed to. It's supposed to be can affect everything you do, like going forward. So, yeah, I'm not sure they put as much work in as they should have done with it.
Yeah, it's but it's cool, and that the artwork is at least very nice. But if it may just be kind of just a story, which I mean, a 14-hour story, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is by draw distance from Krakow, Poland. So I don't think they're the original creators of Vampire the Masquerade. I'm pretty sure they're just contracted out. So yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah, I wonder how long they were given to do this, you know what I mean? Because if they were given ample time to maybe develop it further, they could have done more dialogue trees. So
I saw news about this game back in 2018. Well, no, I saw news about the new Vampire the Masquerade back in 2018. Like, that's when they announced it. So and I never even, this was a complete surprise. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they had how much time they had to develop it.
So yeah, this is 10% off right now, and it's £13.94.
Yep, and $17.99. But I mean, hey, you get to play with pretty vampires. So, our next title is not for broadcast. Prologue.
Take control of the national nightly news as a radical government comes to power. In this immersive, high-pressure propaganda sim, you control what the people see and determine what's not for broadcast.
I like the subtle references to 1984 since it's set in an alternate 1980s, and they have the symbol for they have like one of the symbols for INSOC in there, just kind of cheekily in there. It's like, oh, that's neat. Pretty clever.
Yeah, they definitely know what they're referencing and going after. So it'll be curious to see what all they did with the FMV stuff, because it looks like they know what they were going after, so they could have an absolute blast with it. But if the gameplay itself is just kind of boring, or I don't know, it might be fun just watching like the little videos, but
I FMV games, so I'm and this is a prologue for a game that's coming out in 2020. So I really want to give this game a go and to see, whether I'm going to like the main game as well. So, but yeah, I just love FMV games, and seeing how developers actually work these videos in and what the mechanics of the game is. So yeah, it's always interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually installing this one right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had it on my wish list a little while back, and I didn't realize the prologue was available until I saw the Steam release list that you guys are kind enough to make and send, and I was like, oh wow, this actually has a demo out. Yes, okay, all right, I'm a little more in.
I'm sort of curious what sort of humor there's going to be, though, because it is created by Not Games out of the UK. Oh, and it's kind of funny. So this is not for broadcast. All the other games they've made have the word "not" in them, which is sort of funny. They've made a bunch of other games, so they have like Not a Sim or something. Let me go check their list. Yeah, so Not the Name We Wanted, Not COD, Not for broadcast. So that's just really funny. So that is a
Kickstarter avoidance album. It's not part of the Not scheme, but I like the name of it. But that was part of Not the Name We Wanted, so I like the Kickstarter avoidance album. That's
and so they're based out of jolly old London, England. So nice. And it's free. Although I don't think the full game's going to be free. This is just a promo.
Just
promo
the demo.
Yep. but I like it when they do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I love it. I love when if a game has like a prologue or something, and it's like, and especially if it's to sort of advertise like the main game that's coming out. I really like that.
Mm. Our next title is The Islander Town Architect by Boxhead Bros.
Escape your stressful and mundane everyday routine and head to exotic Polynesia to become a grandmaster town architect. Turn this sandy wilderness into a beautiful paradise settlement.
I feel like this is one of those Zen games. It's kind of like, just put stuff down and make things symmetrical. So I think that's what this probably caters to.
Yeah, like a little Stardewy, like almost like Prison Architect meets Stardew.
Prison Architect.
Yeah, well,
I remember that one.
Because in Stardew, like, yeah, you can build buildings and all that and get your fields out, but this is kind of more like you also build the town, like the island itself, and not just your little areas. So that's why I was going more Prison Architect, because it's a little more grand scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, like, you know, as you and like in Stardew Valley, you know, you got to like maybe do a bit of farming. You know, there's more interaction rather than just and maybe a story as well as just like building.
Build and do.
But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you are just.
There is money, like you have a certain amount of money, so there must be a way to make money. So yeah. I think it's probably something like a tycoon game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just gotta meet people's needs.
Oh yeah, and you got rental income. So you basically become a slumlord.
Yeah.
That's nice. A Polynesian slumlord.
So, well, I mean, it's kind of like Tropico, but the 2D version?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a stretch.
That might be a stretch, yeah. Yeah. But, you know, it looks like it would probably be fun to as sort of an abnegation type game. It is $7.19 US.
And 10% off right now at £5.21.
Yep. Alrighty. And with that, that's all of our Wednesday games. Our next title is going to be from Thursday, December 12th, and it is SuperEpic.
Oh, that's why I couldn't find it. I was typing in what was it? Super something else. No, it's super how it was starting to pop up, but I was not I was typing in Super Eric. There we
Super
go.
Eric. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little off today.
This is not written in Cyrillic, my friend.
Yeah, it's mostly it's still a little cold because we went out for our walk earlier today, so I'm still in catch-up mode. Super Eric is a satirical and humorous Metroidvania-style action-adventure game starring a raccoon and a llama in their quest to save an Orwellian society from the rule of an evil corporation. Region Corp is an enterprise which is controlling minds through abusive microtransactions. Oh, you're fighting against EA. I love it.
Yeah. That is not a llama. That is some like duck monster. Like llamas don't look like that, but okay.
No. The
the face is
and
weird.
A llama.
Yeah. Oof.
Oh.
But you know what? This besides that, like criticism, the art does look fantastic. But yeah, it's by Undercoders out of Barcelona, Spain. And yeah.
One thing that's bothering me in looking at everything is what looks like the health bar and like all the other bars on the sides not lining up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're all askew and it's really bothering me.
Yeah, and the UI, like the minimap is fine, but the UI just needs a little bit more framing or something. Like it feels like it pops out. Like your UI is supposed to stand out.
Yeah.
But there's a limit to how much it should stand out.
Yeah.
It should still look like it fits. Like the money and the little heart, like life counter looks fine. But then that bar, it's really just the bars in the upper left that's like, this belongs in a different game. So that is my one criticism.
And I don't know, like the bright red for the mini map on the side, I don't know, it's a bit of an eyesore in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have probably gone with more of a blue or a more subdued color of some sort.
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking, you've got a lot of folks with the red-green color blindness on top, which I'm wondering with some of the palette styles and all that, how that could affect the thing. Just my humble opinion.
It might actually look better with color blindness.
There's some of the backgrounds I think it would blend in a little bit too much, but that's just me.
No.
Oh, those colors, they just look so ugly to me. I'm not. And when you're hitting people when they've got the how much you've hit them for damage counter, it looks just terrible. It's the same color as the mini map, and it's just like, oh no.
Just a boring square block.
Oh yeah, I just noticed that. Oh my word, that doesn't look nice. No. They should have just had floating numbers without any boxes.
Yeah.
Ooh. So there's definitely flaws.
It's distinct and sticks out, but do you really need to know the number?
I mean, it's such a shame because it's the rest of it looks really great. Like the background art looks really nice. The character designs looks great. The cutscenes in between.
Yeah, the llama. The llama's weird, but all the other character designs look great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cutscenes in between look fantastic as well. I really like those. So yeah, this needed it. I think just I don't know who did the UI designer, but we should have maybe got a different
UI designer.
Yeah.
So what we're saying, you should fire your UI designer. But,
your llama's now officially named Eric because of my stupidity.
Yes, Eric the llama. That is his name now. Eric Llama.
The raccoon is Super. The llama is Eric.
Oh, and hello, Shadowlick. I didn't see you sneak in here. Hello, welcome. But yeah, Undercoaters. Still, I think this is their. Was this their first title? No, it's their second title. They also made Conga Master. It has positive reviews, so. I don't
want to. Oh, that actually looks really cute too. Back from 2016, all about getting a gigantic conga line. Hell yeah, I'm for it.
Oh, okay, that actually sounds pretty fun. Like Snake, but with a conga line.
And stupidly unique. Yeah, and I know I was being a little bit critical on a SuperEpic, but it looks like it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it really does. It just that's not a llama, and that's not a good UI.
Yeah.
That is all. It is very cute, and it's another game we can add to our raccoon protagonist list.
That list is so growing.
It is growing. It is definitely growing. Raccoons are in right now. They just are.
Yeah, it was zombies, Cthulhu, and now raccoons.
So, our next title is from Thursday. Did we get the price?
No. This is 10% off right now, and it's $13.49. There isn't a lot of currently. There's
only 4.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we hope that some of you pick this up and adore it.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's $16.19 US with 10% off. Our next title from Thursday, December 12th is Virgo versus the Zodiac. Wait, did I click the right one? Oh yes, okay.
Okay, hopefully I got the right one. Dethrone the Zodiacs, revive the Golden Age, and purge the heretics that swarm the galaxy as Virgo, the Queen of Purity, in this unforgiving timed actions turn-based JRPG.
So this game is sort of inspired where you kind of play the villain a bit. So Virgo does a lot of very not too nice things. I'm trying to the creator on their website kind of explained the two different games that they sort of inspired off of this. Do they mention it down here? Yes, Mother RPG and Mario and Luigi RPG series are the two games that inspire this. And but yeah, the art, it looks fantastic. The characters are really cute. And so each of the 12 constellation of Zodiac is just sort of anthropomorphized into these, girls with symbolic weapons or armor or something that somehow reflects their Zodiac. Yeah.
It looks so cute. It just looks incredibly cute.
Yeah.
And I like some of the background designs as well.
That's an alpaca.
Yeah, that's an alpaca, yes.
That's an alpaca. Sorry.
No, it's fine. There's just I don't know. There are, I suppose, inconsistencies of the artwork. That was the only sort of thing I complain about. Some of it looks really beautiful, and then some of it looks a bit, I don't know, maybe needs a bit more work. But, yeah.
What? Hey, Dewey, at the very bottom, of course, like where I was pointing out that riding the alpacas right before the system requirements. What the hell is that?
Oh, let me see. Oh. That's unsettling, whatever that thing is. Yeah, let's just pretend we didn't see that.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I don't want that meeting me in my dreams.
I can't unsee it. It's like, it's a thong monster. Yeah.
Oh man, it does look. Oh man, it does look. Overall, the game looks really nice, but it looks like it probably does have that sort of weird, tongue-in-cheek thing.
It's 25% off right now, and it's £11.61. And it's standing at 100% positive reviews with 31 users. So
not bad. Apparently, though, the dev did get really nasty. Like, they were watching a Twitch stream and was like, I'm feeling kind of bad today. They were watching a Twitch stream and they're like, oh yeah, this story's really dumb. And just going into the story, they're like, oh. It's like, oh well, not everyone's gonna like it, but still, it's like, oh. I definitely had to go get some ice cream. But yeah, this is developed by Moon Nana out of I don't know where Moon Nana is from, but the music is by Mr. Electro Bear from Kopavogur, Iceland. So,
nice. But the thing is, I think with video games, I mean, we've seen, oh my god, there's so many narratives that we've seen that have just been very silly, but it doesn't mean that we've enjoyed them any less.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, where this looks adorable. I just saw that thing on the bottom. What the?
Yeah. I think it has that sort of Undertale-esque kind of like things are normal and then suddenly things are not. I think it's probably going for that.
Terrible community?
Hopefully not. But I mean more in-game stuff. You know, like when you come across that you just come across weird things in the game in Undertale. It's just like I'm
like
uncomfortable. Yeah, I like the community. Yes.
Sorry, I'm in a mood today.
You're gonna get us tar and feathered. Stop. I want to live. All right.
This is why I'm only allowed on once a month.
Yes, indeed. All right, and it's only $14.99 US with 25% off. Or you can get the soundtrack bundle that is $20.68.
The Justin bundle.
Yeah, so you can get the music by Mr. Electro Bear, which is a great name, by the way.
I love that name.
I'm gonna have to follow him on Twitter, just so I can keep
friend.
new best friend. Gotta see what other games he makes music for. All right, our next title is that's the wrong one. I'm skipping one. There we go. Our next title is Cat Lady, the card game.
Is the main character Barbara Lepore?
No.
Yeah, callbacks. Cat Lady the card game is a fun card drafting game in which players are cat ladies trying to tempt cats into their cattery using food, toys, costumes, and more, based on the much-loved card game by AEG.
It always bothers me when people include the description of fun in the description.
Wait. That bothers you? What about when they say tight and juicy?
Oh, God.
You had to bring that up again, didn't you?
I really did.
But
That's why I watched the video from a month ago, just specifically for that.
yeah, that's another thing that you shouldn't add. Or neon soaked. That's another thing you should never add in your description. But it's just odd when someone describes their game as fun. It's like, well, I should hope so.
Yes. or this will leave you broken and battered. Play our game.
That is kind of your base requirement, unless it's a game that's not meant to be fun.
So
then you might
is
specify.
strange, but
Yeah.
broken and battered, but
It should at least be fun when you're getting broken and battered, though. So.
But I think the only reason, and I'm actually gonna slightly defend them throwing the fun part in, is because this is actually based off of an actual card game by AEG, and so I think they were trying to say, hey, that card game is fun, and we're basing it off of that. So I don't know if them necessarily. Hopefully they're saying their game is fun, but it's like, hey, this was a fun game, and we wanted to make a digital version. I'm stretching a little, but
You're stretching a lot. But I praise you for the attempt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Even though it failed.
I like the artwork for this game. I like, it's all those pastels, isn't it? It's just like, it really gets you into that sort of cat lady kind of cozy visuals.
It is easy on the eyes, that's for sure.
Yeah. But I'm curious to how this plays. You've got to collect all the cats.
The artwork is very like 1-to-1 to the actual physical game itself as well. And yeah, it is so the cats are all there's different scoring on each of the cats, and then you've got like the different toys. So I do believe it's kind of more of a set collect style of game if you're kind of curious on the point system. But
maybe like Rummy kind of.
Yeah.
As a cat person, I feel like I have to get the physical game. I don't know about the digital game, but having the physical game to play with someone might be really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nomad Studios, the developers, are located in Lymm, which I think it's the Lymm located in Cheshire. Lymm,
Cheshire.
the UK. Yeah, Cheshire. I always say Shire when it should be Shire. Yeah, Cheshire. Yeah, I think it's from Cheshire. Lymm, UK. So yeah, another British developer.
Yep, and they've done, and this is a developer I actually know a little bit better because they've done like Talisman Digital Edition, which I played the daylights out of, even though I'm having a little bit of an issue with how they're dealing with. It was like, oh, buy this, you'll get every DLC we ever do included, and now they were like, yeah, we limited that to this. Now you have to buy these separate.
Wow.
Sega did that too to some of my games.
And then, but like in the board game version or the digital version of Talisman was very rough when it first came out. And Talisman would have been a hard one to do, a 1-to-1. And I wish they worked on DLC before they worked on cleaning up issues. The Cat Lady card game probably a little bit of an easier to put on than what Talisman is. Talisman a little bit more robust. And then they also had like a really good version of Smash Up. Fighting Fantasy Legends, and then I've heard really good things on their digital version of Love Letter. If you ever played that game, and if you haven't, pick it up. Especially going into the holidays, if you're looking for like a fun board card game to play, Love Letter is very easy to pick up. And if you're not a fan of like Victorian themes, there's a Batman version of Love Letter, plays 100% the exact same way, but with Batman.
Okay. Love Letters and Batman. All right. Yeah, no, thank you very much. It was very informative. And it seems they kind of specialize in board games, so that's cool.
What? No.
But this is $3.99, and unfortunately there's not enough user reviews. So, you decide to pick this up, give it a review.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Yeah, $4.99. All right. So, with that, nope, stop that. Okay, there we go. With that, our next title is Budget Cuts 2 Mission Insolvency.
Stealth action game built for the total immersion that only heavily spatial VR experiences can bring, bound together with an epic story, spine-tingling tension, and a delicious blend of violence, tongue-in-cheek humor, and tacos.
as someone who's seen VR advertised since 2005 for consumers, this one is impressive because it actually looks like a VR game that's a game.
Mm.
Did you ever see anything on the first Budget Cuts game?
No, I don't believe so.
Gotcha, because it is this looks like a beautiful sequel to that. Budget Cuts, the first one, very, very fun, very original game. It kind of felt like Portal meets a stealth game.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, oh, there's a robot over there, but I can sneak behind if I can teleport over to here, or I can look at this and mess with this. It's I was so happy when they put out a sequel to it. If I had a little bit more funds, this is a game I would pick up instantly and play, because the Budget Cuts, the first one, really good. The downside is they'll say the play area is standing or room scale. I would 100% say this needs to be room scale only. At least, especially the first Budget Cuts. It could work standing, but I would recommend room scale.
Okay. It's good to see. It's good to see. This is another thing about coming into the new decade. I think finally VR is going to be an actual market force. Finally, it took what? I think the first VR sets came out in the 70s. And now we're finally here. 50 years later, we have arrived. So
they still need to clean a few things up. I like what the Oculus Rift S and the Oculus Quest are doing to be a lot more consumer friendly, because especially the S, you don't need like the big sensors up on the walls. It's all camera based.
Okay.
You need a decent computer for it to be able to do all the calculations, because it calculates because it bounces off of the controllers too, which I thought was like just genius clever, of like, oh, we're using these as reference points for this and for those, and while mapping out the space that you're in, so we can try to figure out which way you're looking using 5 onboard cameras. And then the Quest being the much cheaper version of it, making it a little bit more consumer friendly. The issue you still have is games, your room scale versus seated versus your standing, because you don't know the play space people are going to have.
Yeah.
So that's my VR rant.
Yes.
I someone I know who installing their VR setup actually had problems with I think what they've got. I'm not sure if they've got the Oculus. I'm not sure, but basically, the USB port, there is actually a blacklist of sort of like USB connectors for it, because basically there have been bugs for certain ones, and they've not bothered to fix them. Instead, they'll just blacklist them instead. So if you've not got the right one, then it's like you can't. It doesn't play properly at all, and they'll blacklist it in the program instead. So yeah, it's
it has work to go.
Yeah.
And then especially now you've got the Valve Index, which everything to it looks fantastic, minus not every game plays nice with it. Oh, and it's $1,000. Oh yeah, let's drop that part. Like,
Buffoon Batman coming in with the compliments.
Oh, true.
What? You mean my complete lack of eyebrows?
So cheeky. But this is £23.79, which is a weird price point, and that is the full price as well. So that's just weird.
$29.99 US, which sounds a little bit better than what you've got over the UK for a normal price point.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think also since most VR hardware is built almost exclusively in North America, like then you got the import costs and stuff for getting the hardware over there. So yeah, that's difficult. But you know what? We're starting at this point. It's gonna get better throughout 2020. So here's a game to check out. And it's developed by Neat Corp out of Stockholm, Sweden. Our next title is A Tofu Tale. Yes.
The puzzle game of a man turned tofu by a deceptive fox spirit. Explore the surreal realms of the foxes to help Mr. Tofu break his curse.
So it tried to have a story. I'll give it that. But it looks really cute. Like it's a very strange art style, but it has a lot of very interesting references to East Asian mythology, which is just kind of strange. That's Japanese folklore specifically. But yeah, I do like the sort of reference to how tofu picks up the flavor of whatever it's with. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, they put a fun spin on like the good old like cube puzzles you would used to see of like, oh, you have to rotate this way to do this, or you have to hit these so many different times. It's a puzzle mechanic you see a lot, but never with tofu.
You have to give them that.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about the artwork. It's a bit, I don't know. Obviously, it looks like it's got a lot of love, but it just, there's certain bits that look a bit just slightly crunchy.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Adult Swim TV shows, and that art style of like, here's your college student hand drawn. We're going all out sort of art style, but it didn't translate to motion the greatest. Yeah.
This is by Alchemedium out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So yeah, I think our first American. Yeah, I think this is our first American dev this week. So yeah, Tofu Tale. It's neat. I like it. But I don't think I'm gonna pick it up because I'm not into cube puzzles, and I don't know.
Yeah, I like puzzle games, but I don't think this kind of puzzle game is for me. And
if it was
it's
a little less expensive.
Yeah, it's even if it's 15% off, it's still £9.68. And usually when you get puzzle games, you know, they're usually I suppose because they're quite basic mechanics and everything, and you know, there's not a lot of story going on. It's
$5 to $10.
Yeah. It's like £5 usually. It's like, but it's definitely under £10. There's, you know, you're not paying 10 for a puzzle game.
Yeah, because right now US so $14.99, but it's $12.74 on sale. So
yeah, that's too much. It's too much.
Oh, so probably the strangest game that we had so far this week. Tofu.
Yeah, definitely.
There are 100 levels, so there's 100 puzzles.
That's not bad. But it doesn't have Barbara Lepre. I'm stuck on that, guys. I'm so sorry.
The fancy lady Barbara Lepre.
The 50-year-old cat lady that everyone's in love with.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say fancy lady. I would definitely say the sort of mumsy looking.
Mumsy
looking that people apparently fancy.
Yes.
The fanciable mumsy lady. Divination is our next title, by Mojikin Studio out of Surabaya, Indonesia.
What if you were born into this world without your permission? Divination is a very short visual novel where you act as a fortune teller in a futuristic world. Talk and listen to people's stories, then foresee their future using the runes they had drawn.
So I had to look a bit into this just because it was just, I couldn't understand what the mechanics were exactly. But basically, you get someone's fortune, and then you tell them, and then you can hide it. You have the choice of like how you learn about their fortune, and then how you tell them what you found out. So, like, you might tell them something different about their fortune than what you actually saw. And there's and because of this, there's sort of a branching narrative about like how you affect people's lives and how it's going to come around to affect yours. There's like a society where both robots and humans live together. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
I played something very similar a few years ago at EGX Resd. This I think they were like a student developer, and they were, and you basically you know palm reader divinator, and you have to get clients, and you read them, and you have to like decide on how you're supposed to tell them, and you're and also you've got to work out how you're reading them as well. So yeah, and this seems like I'll just say this looks better, way better, because they were doing more of a 3D kind of version, and you had to like click on things and move them, and it was very, click and hold down and move things, and it was, a bit annoying mechanic wise. Whereas this looks a bit like, I don't know, just looks slick and just a very interesting setting, like that Blade Runner kind of setting, definitely.
It definitely has a very Indonesian game feel, which is hard to say because there's only been so many Indonesian games. But I will say that when I found out they were based out of Surabaya, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense, because I don't know. I've lived with Indonesians for 6 years, and I was just like looking at like the kind of books like they write and the art. It just kind of clicked when it's like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. It's got a really like sharp, nice aesthetic that's kind of anime, but not really. Like it has that taste where it's like, okay, so this has some influence by Eastern art, but it's not Japan. So and yeah, it was really neat to see this sort of plot line, and it's fortune telling, so it's cool. I like it. It's cool. Let me see.
And it's only £1.48, so that's 12% off right now. So it must be like a very short game. I'm seeing like
half hour to hour is the average I'm getting. There was someone who was saying like, I skipped all the dialogue and it lasted 10 minutes.
And it's like, well, what do you expect then if you skip all the dialogue?
Oh, there's also a thing where like before you do their divination, you can ask them questions, and that might change also how you divine or what you tell them, etc. So that's kind of neat. I don't know. And so just a little thing. It's there's 30,000 Indonesian rupiah to every dollar. So this is probably about 50,000 Indonesian rupiah that you pay for it. So it being $1.75, it's like, oh yeah, that's really cheap. Well, maybe it's not that cheap. Divination. Anyhow. Next title is, you've probably heard about this, Sayonara Wild Hearts.
It's a dreamy arcade game about riding motorcycles, skateboarding, dance battling, shooting lasers, wielding swords, and breaking hearts at 200 miles per hour. This game has been out for a while, finally making its way over to Steam. This was originally an Apple Arcade game, which made its way to the Switch, and now finally over to Steam.
I need to just skip that, like, flashing. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, it's very colorful. Yep. So, but yeah, it's got this kind of like neat sort of pop soundtrack, and the gameplay changes constantly throughout it. Like you're not playing the same game every, a minute later it's going to be an entirely different game that you're playing. So it's very creative.
Yeah, it's one of those. If I've played this on other platforms, and hence why a little more apprehensive of picking it up yet on a different platform. But it is a fantastic freaking game. It's I could not recommend this more highly because, as you said, it changes very frequently of what it is. It's a fun arcade game. What this is at the end of the day.
I just love. I like the character designs. Like they're wearing these masks and everything, and they just look.
Yeah, if it's not already on a wish list or on a system you already have had this on, pick this game up. It is worth price of admission, hands down.
Persona 5. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Yeah, the opening cinematic.
So yeah, and this is by Simogo, a studio out of Malmö, Sweden.
20% off right now. It's £8.23. I'm not sure how long it is.
I know it's not a very long game.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people with about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
But yeah, it's replayable.
Yeah.
Try to get like better scores and try to do certain achievements and stuff like that. It's short, but it's still fun.
Right. Next is Friday the 13th December. So I thought it was October for a bit because it's like, why are there so many horror games? It's like, oh, it's Friday the 13th. But not a horror game. Our next title is Shadow Brawlers.
A local party game in which players control cute, agile ninjas that hide in the shadows. Surprise your opponents by appearing suddenly from the background, attack and disappear.
Another one of these sort of like multiplayer couch co-op battler games that we've seen. You know, they're kind of a perennial thing on this show. They show up basically every week. So this sort of title.
But since we've done the show, Steam recently introduced the remote play together too. Because I know it was one of our biggest talk points that we had for the longest time of like, I want to play this with friends, but I don't have a lot of local friends. But they introduced that remote play together system. I haven't gotten a chance to try it out myself. I know some people have had some technical issues with it of like, oh, this connects the player that's connecting to my game with my keyboard, and that's how I'm playing it. Like I would have to play on a controller. They would take the bindings of the keyboard to try to make it work, and little bit of lag issues, but that's not from firsthand experience.
It does work playing with my cousin up in Tacoma, but it does not work with my cousin in another city where they don't have as good of internet. So you have to have very good internet. It is kind of a solution if you like have 4 different computers in like a house, like you have roommates, etc., and you can, you know, pretty easily network and play together. So that is something you can do as well. So yeah, Shadow Brawlers. Does this have online multiplayer? No, it does not. Just split screen. So
that's a shame.
I should have mentioned that part first before I went into the remote play together. My bad.
No problem.
But this is £7.63, so it's 33%, and it has just come out of early access. So, but we got 20 user reviews, and it's 100% positive.
The team that developed it is Team Guazú, which is actually from Argentina. I looked at the name and was like, "Oh, is this a Chinese studio?" It's like, no, it's not. It's an Argentine studio because Guazú can also be a Spanish word. Anyhow, they're from La Plata, Argentina, and they are 3 devs. Paco Alvarez Lojo is the programmer designer. Rojo McGill is the artist, animator, and designer. And Lucia Castez is the artist, animator, and designer. So, yeah.
I like the simple art style to it. I know a lot of the couch co-ops have been going more that way over time, and I'm totally cool with it. I like the aesthetic.
Yeah, it looks very interesting. It looks great.
I need to have a Steam link and actually make friends and then have them come over and play some of these. Yeah, because you're definitely not missing choice. All right. Our next title is Dead End Job. Oh, and this game is 10:04 US. I don't think we mentioned that.
Oh.
Yeah. 10:04 US. Dead End Job. Yes.
Sends you into a madcap Ren and Stimpy-esque world to bust up Ghost. It's procedurally generated couch co-op twin stick shooter that straps a vacuum pack to your back, puts a plasma blaster in your hand. For you, it's just another day in the office.
Yep. This one looks kind of funny. I thought maybe it was like somehow connected to Ghostbusters, but no, it's not. It's just kind of a spoof of it. But I don't know. It looks kind of Cartoon Network, yeah, sort of quirky.
Late 90s Cartoon Network.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Ren and Stimpy cow and chicken vibe.
Yeah. I don't know. I quite like the look of it, but the designs and everything like that, but it's definitely not like a game that I usually play, so yeah, I don't think I'll be putting it on my wish list, but everything else, it looks fun, it looks a lot of fun.
They need to do an update on their tags because they say it's only single player. On the one side where it needs the local co-op. So the has it, but where like they can actually define it with stuff going on. It does not say local co-op. It's got the remote play together, but they're missing that.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, it has I think folks who've been playing Binding of Isaac, etc., might want to check this one out. Seems like it might be in that sort of realm.
I would throw this as a combo of Binding of Isaac meets Into the Gungeon.
Yeah.
Because it's got more of the play style of Gungeon, but more of the humor of Isaac.
Yeah. Yeah, sort of a marriage of those two.
Yeah.
Right, it's 15% off right now. It's $11.89.
And the dev is streaming.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
$16.99 US on sale, 15% off for $14.44.
Yep. So hello. There is someone. Yeah. That I think. I do. Yes, it is their devs streaming it. So that's cool. Or maybe not. Because sometimes they do this where they have like just a streamer stream on it.
The developer is playing. It says
Okay.
now broadcasting what she developed play. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes if you click on it, it's not necessarily the developer. It just seems like the thing that Steam throws up, and they haven't added other things behind it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Because I do know one time it was just like this other streamer I know, Richie Procopio. I was just like, "You're not a developer. Why are you here? Can I just know that?" All right, but yeah, this is by Ant Workshop Edinburgh, out of Edinburgh, Scotland.
Oh, I know the person who wrote it personally.
Oh, really?
Madcap story written by IGF nominee Zalavia Nelson Jr. Yes, I met him. He does a lot of he used to do a lot of text-based adventures. So yeah, he's he loves a pun.
Oh,
he's a very punny guy. He's
so it's
great.
gonna be a very punny game, probably. That's neat. Yeah. That's awesome.
No, I'll have to reach out to him and let him know that we spoke about a game that he's written about. Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm even more intrigued. I'm intrigued to see someone play this. Because I want to see the story. If it's written by him, he's very imaginative, and it is yeah. It also says it's Twitch and Mixer integration allows viewers to help or hinder the streamer.
Oh yeah, that was something they added as a feature as well. So that's kind of neat. The founder of the studio and dev is Tony Galland, and a collaborating programmer is Martin Scott that helped to make this. Yep, and it is $14.44 with 15% off. That's pretty. That's not too bad, probably. Okay, our next title I've heard a lot about. I don't know where from, but I saw this and I immediately recognized it. I've been trying to figure out who. But anyhow, Demon's Tilt by Wiznar.
Turbocharged Pinball returns, now with bigger sprites, more baddies, more secrets, and more bullets! Demon's Tilt pushes the limits of the video pinball genre with sharp and hack and slash elements.
Whew, that's a lot of neon.
The sound. I was listening to the soundtrack here, like about a minute ago, and it's pretty bumping. I tell you what.
Oh man, I used to really like pinball games, and this one looks pretty good. My word. I see. So Wizenwar, have they mailed it? Okay, just Demon's Tilt. I think this was on another platform before, and it just came to Steam. I think that's why I've heard about it. Because I'm so positive I've seen this game before, and I don't know where, and it's driving me insane. Anyhow, I'm going to have to look it up afterwards. Demon's Tilt.
Especially now when they're saying, like, bigger sprites, more baddies, more this. Is like, that's normally like a, hey, we just released it for somewhere else, and we added more to it. Kind of the vibe I'm getting. Apparently, it's also out on the Switch.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So this is a solo dev project, with of course the help of Flarb LLC. But yeah, the creator of this is a solo dev, from Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah, it looks really nice. The artwork and everything, it just looks pixel art is fantastic.
Yeah, I love the music, the pinball gameplay. It looks solid. My goodness.
I'd play it. It is $14.99 US, or you can get the deluxe edition, which is $24.98.
The good old collector's pack, which extend your Demon Still experience by getting collector pack features soundtrack, digital map of the cathedral, behind the scenes ebook, social media, avatars, desktop wallpapers, and mobile wallpapers. You don't see that much anymore, where they do like you can get wallpapers.
That's a really good collector's pack, actually, because normally it just says, oh, you get the soundtrack or something, but no, it's got art book as well, and like little emotes or icons or something, and just a really good package. But it's £11.39 for the game, and the bundle is £18.58.
Very cool. Our next title is Stay in the Light.
It's an immersive first-person horror game that builds suspense and tension in a completely next-gen graphic setting. Utilizing the latest ray tracing features of GTX and RTX NVIDIA cards, use real-time reflections to avoid danger and solve puzzles as you loot for treasure.
So one of the major gimmicks of this game is they have a magical mirror that you use to see behind you. So you just like have it like here as you're walking around, they can see something move behind you. And of course you use the mirror to solve puzzles and stuff. But yeah.
The vibe I'm getting from this is a tech demo or like your PC benchmark video. Is the what I'm seeing immediately when I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
And this the release date on this, unless I'm looking at the wrong ones, got June 3rd.
Oh, because it came out of early access.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. I didn't know if they had that in there. Where their early access came out, I was like, wait, this has been out a while. My bad. It's on me.
It's okay.
It's it definitely has that sort of tech demo look where it's like, I don't know if actual like art team that cared went into this. Because it's it's got that sort of like, it has that good engine, but a lot of the art, I'm like, this doesn't feel particularly inspired.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, it looks a bit kind of by the numbers or something. I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. I'm not that intrigued as some of these like first person horror games. That I love to watch someone on Twitch play, but I can't stay that long because I'm really not good at watching
also,
horror
they
games.
showed the monster, which is a little like, why do you do that? We spoke about that. When you show the monster, it's like it takes away the mystery from it, and it's you want the player to integrate this sort of like their own imagination until they can actually sort of see unless
it.
That's not the monster.
It might not be either. Like that might just be a monster of some sort. And like looking at that monster, that monster looked good. Like well drawn in, well modeled. I know I was a little harsh on how stuff looked right away, and especially some of the games we've seen before. It's not a bad looking game, but I think I'm a little harsher on this because of I don't like the fact that it's like we're throwing everything NVIDIA at this alone. It's like, okay, cool. If you're all GTX, RTX, NVIDIA, put that in your game title, man. And then it's still $20 on top for what looks like a tech demo.
Yeah.
It's $17.99 on sale.
Yeah, 10% off. It's £14.84. And it looks like it's under 2 hours. I think it's quite a bit of money for under 2 hours. I'm seeing like
is straight up the creature.
Yeah, like an hour and a half or less. That's so bad. I've seen people at like under an hour they've completed it, so that's really bad.
This just looks like something that if you buy one of the RTX or GTX cards, this should just come with it.
The little demo. Yep.
Yeah.
When it's standing at mostly positive and 70%, and it's 27 users. I'll put a review in.
Yep. The concept of like shining light on something to make it disappear, though, is kind of neat. That's a neat sort of puzzle mechanic. But not super enthused with it. And I mean, it's also just like artistry. Like Virgo versus Zodiac, I think is a better looking game than this. Not because it has like more graphic fidelity, but because it has more artistry to it.
Yeah.
Like a thong monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The next title is Rocwood Academy.
Text-based choice matters adventure game set in the wizard world inside U.S. society early 1900s. So the U.S. Hogwarts. In the role of a first-year student, player is going to make friends, study wizardry, and uncover the mystery beneath the school back garden.
Yep. So it looks cute. This is a so it's a card case based kind of collector battler / thing. It's not very long. It's pretty short, but it's also $1.79 with 40% off right now. So
yeah, otherwise $2.99 normally. It looks cute.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame it's not longer because it does look like, you know, you could get a really good story out of this, and you know, maybe it kind of looks like it could or like visual novel thrown into it as well, you know what I mean, with the portraits and everything, and you're introduced to people. So I don't know, I think it's nice. I'm glad that they really brought this out, but I think maybe see how this goes and maybe expand the story or the game universe or something.
Clearly inspired by Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. That's none of us can argue that because of look at what time period it is, look at everything else going on. And if this does well, maybe they'll expand on it. Why does it say by Mars instead of Rocwood Academy? So like above the buy add to cart, I hopefully it's not just a me thing, and it might be.
Oh yeah, it does. It says by Mars.
It says by Mars. That's real weird. I'm gonna sound terrible. I might actually flag this game just in case.
Yeah,
that's sketchy.
Yeah, why does it have a different name?
That's so weird.
Is that an acronym for something?
For Rocwood Academy?
Because according to the reviewers, a lot of them are like, "Oh, it ended kind of weird. Like it's like, well, like they enjoyed it, but it still kind of ended where it seemed to imply there would be a sequel." So, that is odd. Let me see, what other games does Openlab Games have? Nope, this is their first one.
It did say it had like a twist at the end. So it says, Owen Hugh, the story is well done to me. The little twist in the end really makes me looking forward to the future sequel. Hope they will make it. The card battle is quite hard you cannot collect so much items and spells in the first game completion. I would suggest you to have more than half of the deck and testing out different combinations to challenge each type of monster. It will be more fun that way. Overall, 8 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, I am wondering if either they had a different working name and then they changed it, but they forgot to change it in other areas. But that is odd. That is odd.
Very odd. Yeah. I'm sending a polite report just so hopefully they can get that changed and taken care of. I'm not assuming anything terrible.
Yeah.
No.
That is very odd. Anyhow.
But it's 40% off right now, so it's £1.25.
Yeah, £1.25, $1.79. And our next title is on a similar magical theme. We have Unfamiliar. If it'll take me there. There we go.
It's unfamiliar territory for your sorry, that was a stretch. A relaxing fantasy adventure game where witch cat who sets out to acquire magic ingredients from storybook worlds to craft items and create enchanting costumes.
Yeah, you play as you. Your voice cut out like right there. But anyhow. But yep. The cat's name is You, apparently. YEW, the tree, like a U tree, because that won't get confusing.
Unfortunate name. Play as you.
Yep.
You.
This is by Manatee Games, as in, another pun, my word, out of Melbourne, Australia.
You play as you.
It does only have 50% positive, though.
I'm wondering what are the complaints.
Cute.
Like it lacks something to make it feel less empty. So yeah, it could be the sort of
walking cat simulator. Is what I'm running into.
It seems a lot of it seems to be about unlocking customization for your cat.
Yeah.
So, which I mean, I guess could be fun, but definitely probably. There we go again. It seems to be a kind of game that may not have very wide appeal. But yeah, I'm familiar. It is $6.79 though, so it's not particularly like gonna break the bank. That is with 15% off.
15% off. It's £4.92.
Yep. Our last title of this week of the Steam release list is the Backspace Bouken.
Type your way through absurd encounters and mysterious puzzles in this old school typing dungeon crawler. Like Doom meets Typing of the Dead.
Yeah, this would be a stress simulator for me. I hate typing games.
I love typing games.
Yeah. So for those who are into it, just have fun, improve your typing skills. I won't be touching this game, but the pixel art looks really nice. It's got that retro feel with a very fresh look.
Yeah.
And it has a demo.
Yep.
Fantastic.
And it's normally $15, which might be a little high depending on how much gameplay you actually get out of this. I'm trying to find the length of time to see if I can justify the 15, but I don't know, it looks cute.
Yeah, it's 10% off right now and £10.25. And yeah, there's not like a big enough sample of people that have played it, and I don't know. I'm not sure how long it is.
Hey, Dewey, if you want a panic attack of something to have to type in quickly into a game, go to the screenshot that they have in third from the end, where it's kind of got that tree monster. Look at that word. Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Third from the end, right here.
Yeah, the tree monster.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I saw that and going like, oh, that would give me anxiety. Oh
yeah.
god.
I was sidetracked. I'm burning up. My gosh. Yeah, so, my word.
So, I mean, it looks like that might have been like a boss fight or just like you definitely went the wrong way sort of thing. Because I'm like, if they do that often, I would be a little ticked off. But
I can't even pronounce that word.
No,
I'm not gonna even try. Nope. I'm just gonna skip. But yeah, that is by RNG Party Games out of Indiana, in the US. So they're Hoosier studio.
Somebody called Brambles.
Yeah, and for our non-US viewers, a Hoosier is someone who's from Indiana. It's not a slur. It's a native term. It just sounds very weird. It's like a Hoosier.
I don't know. Whenever I talk to the Brambles, who I know you've had on this show, I call him a dirty Hoosier all the time. So I do kind of do it as a slur.
Yeah, but it's probably the dirty part, not the Hoosier part. That's really a problem.
Oh, that's what that.
Yeah. You're probably the wrong word.
I learned so much on this show. I tell you what.
Yes, indeed. All right, but because it is the last show of the year and of the decade, for that matter, it's going to be the 20s. Yay! We have just some final for 2019. We just want to talk about our games of the year. And so first up, I'm curious, Rhody, what your top games of the year, and which game do you give the top?
So yeah, so we're gonna do 5 games indie games that we might maybe not have played, but you definitely thought were interesting. And then we have also our game of the year. So that's what we're doing. So I'm gonna say maybe no particular order. My top 5.
I did the same.
For number 5, I've got Mutazione.
Oh, Mutazione. Oh, yes. This game looks delightful.
Yeah, it's just a very, it's going to be very interesting narrative-wise. It's just that, kind of soap opera kind of thing, and the characters just look so interesting, and I want to know what's going to happen in this story. You're supposed to come back to this island, and because your father's ill, or is it your grandfather's very ill?
Yeah, your grandfather's very ill. Yeah.
Yeah. So and you're taking care of them, and you get to meet the residents of the island who are all kind of mutants, and
a lot of the themes of this game are also kind of circle around like grief and acceptance, and you kind of end up growing a garden and that's sort of to display your progress through the story, which is very neat.
Yeah. So that's my number 5. Number 4 is Smile for Me.
Oh, I remember this one.
Yeah, it's just such a very, very different kind of game. I'm not sure if it's like the kind of point and click game, but it looks like Psychonauts. The art style looks very, very Psychonauts like, and you're sort of in trying to get along with people and help them out, and they've lost things, so and you've got to use sort of different mechanics as well, like you've got a boxing glove as well, so it's very, it feels like this should be kind of like a VR game, but it's not. As well.
It's a punching glove.
So yeah, it's very interesting, and I think this one was like a slow burner to like pick up for people to be aware of it. So, and I'm glad like more people have become aware of it and have picked it up.
99% and 100% of recent reviews.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another one for me. And so 3rd is Astrologaster.
Yes.
So I did get to play this a bit at the Adventure X Con, and it was I just love the fact that it's kind of like they do this sort of opera singing and everything, and it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious, and this was on like my periphery for a while, but until I think you actually play this and you get a taste of the game and see how funny it is, do you actually get to appreciate it, I think. And it's something that I'm definitely going to pick up probably in the new year.
Oh wow. Sure. So far, all 3 games you've listed are ones that like I immediately knew you were talking about, because they're all very memorable. All of these games are very memorable. You know about them.
And they're quite different from one another, I think as well. And they've got such like interesting stories. But yeah, you're supposed to be like a soothsayer, and you're supposed to help out like all sorts of people, and hopefully give them the right diagnoses, because you're like an astrologer doctor in a sense. So yeah, that could be quite problematic.
Yeah.
So the next one is Tangle Tower.
Tangle Tower, yep.
Yeah. So I had played the the first game that came out on Steam, although it's not the original game. So this is a sequel. So this is like the third game in the series, really. But yeah, it's you point and click detective game, but the artwork is so amazing, and it's got that sort of Ace Attorney kind of mechanics thrown in there as well. So so when you're gathering your clues and you're going to sort of, you come to an epiphany about something, you're trying to work things out. So yeah, I really like that's mechanic for it, and it just, the voice acting is amazing.
The animations are also just beautifully done.
Yeah. Just fantastic character designs, just amazing. My last pick of the year is Whispers of a Machine.
Whispers of a Machine. Okay.
So yeah, this is another point and click game, but it's got like very unusual mechanics in it. It's not just, you're going around and you're picking things up. You have different modes that you're investigating when you do your investigation. So you can so sometimes you have to go over like a crime scene like a couple of times because you're trying sort of like different modes of your because you're kind of like I think you're kind of like a cyborg, so you've got like different internal mechanisms that you can use to help you. But yeah, it's a very interesting story, and just that like sort of late 90s kind of sort of graphics, but obviously looking much better. I don't know, just really wonderful. But yeah, I've had a few people asking me if I was going to play this on stream, and I keep saying yeah, I will eventually. But yeah, this is like one I'm going to pick up and one I'm going to play.
Nice.
The combination of the combination of the characters being pixel art and the backgrounds being hand drawn somehow works really well.
Sorry, Tom. What were you gonna say?
No, nothing. I'm just sitting here nodding and agreeing with everything you're saying because my God, this looks so good.
Yeah. Hey, so I'm curious, what's the best game of the year for you?
So one that has been released in 2019 and I have played was definitely Unheard.
Oh.
I just recently picked this up because I know how much you love this game, and I was like, oh my God, I have to try this. So I legit bought this game recently, and I'm excited to play it.
Oh yeah, it's just I'm not sure if it was like such a great idea to play on stream, but we still had a good time. But I don't think, people that weren't regulars to my channel, because there's a lot of, you have to sit and listen, and when you're not talking to your audience, I'm not sure they're getting as much out of it. So yeah, this is definitely one to maybe when you want to have some quiet time and you want to play this. It's one you have to sit and listen, and you have to try and work out what's going on. But yeah, if you do get around to playing this, you have to let me know what you think of it, because I just had such a blast with it. It's great.
Yeah, man.
I still haven't played the DLC though, but I will do. I definitely will do.
Already, yeah. Unheard. This one was such a clever, unique idea. So, yep, it has won the prestigious the Steam Release Podcast Rhode Award.
Yeah,
it's won a Rhode. All right. Now, Tommy, let's hear your selections for Game of the Year.
So originally my honorable mention was going to go to a DLC, but I actually had to bump this back to a game that's not out on Steam yet, but it's got to be, it has to be talked about in some capacity, because this is the one I was talking about earlier, where it made mainstream media attention and really brought people into like indie games. at least within this last year, and that's Untitled Goose Game. That thing went nuts. It is like you saw celebrities talking and playing about it. It really brought a new spotlight over to indie games. So it's sitting in not my top 5, but just because it's not officially on Steam, not yet. It's coming next year. So that had to be talked about in some capacity in a indie fashion. And then my top 5, much like Rhode, no particular order. I couldn't list this in any way. This was my original honorable mention, but I just swapped it to my top 5 is because I didn't want to do a DLC, but I did. Celeste Chapter 9. That just came out a few months ago. Celeste, my top I think it's my number 2 game of all time. I love Celeste. I love the story. So having like 100 new like levels and missions in a very beautiful, just a fantastic platformer game. It was the last DLC coming out for that game, so it was already kind of an emotional like, oh man, I want more of this. I love Celeste. It was a game that took a story that didn't need to be there, but it makes the game so much better. They did accessibility so damn well of like, oh, here's all these different cheat modes. Like if you're struggling with something, go for it. Who cares? Just to get past it. And then like that sense of like when you summit for the first time and then for all of a sudden here's 100 new levels, like, oh my god, yeah. So I'll shy past going into it a little bit more because Celeste is already well known, well beloved, but it's one of my favorite games. So when I saw that Chapter 9 come out, it's like, my god, yes. My number 4, still no particular order, is My Friend Pedro.
My Friend Pedro.
Yep. If you look at the thumbnail alone, that screams a game that is right up my alley. It's a violent ballet about friendship, imagination, and one man's struggle to obliterate anyone in his path at the behest of a sentient banana. It is the action alone is just stupid funny. It is humorous. The action is fun. It can get downright hard at times too. And it's not the prettiest. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's just fun. While still being stupidly funny and kind of hardcore-ish for a game that plays as a 2D shooter. And like you have to be clever about stuff. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of it. So my unofficial number 4, because I have no particular order, but I'm building numbers behind it. My Friend Pedro. Yeah. My number 3, which I know was predicted to be my number 1, but it's not, because I do have some beefs with this game. Even though I now have an absolute love for it, is Void Bastards.
Void Bastards.
This one I know many people were predicting would have been my number 1 for the year because I played the daylights out of this. I streamed the daylights out of this. I made friends with the devs while streaming this game, and it's repetitive. The artwork is fantastic. It takes you back to the old System Shock days while still being a roguelite. At the exact same time, the dry British humor I love to it, but it's after you do a couple of runs, it's repetitive. And then when they started doing updates, it's this is paid DLC for these updates. That is where I stopped loving that game. But because of how much time I put into this game, I've got about 30 hours sitting into it right now. I've played quite a bit of this game, and I quite like it. That's why it has to go on my list for the year, but because of a couple little beefs I have, it's not sitting as my number 1 because it got repetitive, and they recycled enemy types later on, and they just like, it's a different color because it's a little harder. Like, no, make it a different enemy. Come on, come on. So yeah, that's my unofficial number 3. Number 2, I wanted to go into the VR realm a little bit, and just because Beat Saber I know is real popular, but this game, my god, it's so good, is Pistol Whip. Pistol Whip. It is a on-rails rhythm shooter.
And I've heard about this.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack of this is fantastic. If you can time your shots out to the rhythm of the song with everyone popping up, you get a better score. Even reloading to rhythm, my God, it's so good. Of course, you have to duck, dodge, weave. It's so darn good. And each level, the colors. So the art style stays roughly the same, but all of the colors change up. It's just a solid, good game. So yeah, my number 2 of the top 5 is Pistol Whip, and then before I get into my game of the year, my last one on this list, because it's one of the most unique puzzle games I have ever seen played. I've not played it myself. I watched Za play the daylights out of this, and it is Baba Is You.
Baba Is You, yes.
It is not a pretty game.
Yes.
Not in the slightest. It is its own unique critter, but the whole, like, you move like the words around and that creates different things. This was one of the most unique puzzle games I have ran into in ages, and I love it for it. Like, this made my brain hurt watching him and a few other streamers play this. So it's not sitting in a game that I've played, hence why it's not my number 1. Otherwise it probably would be. But my God, yeah, Baba Is You. I just love it. It's so unique. It's like, oh, rock is push. It's like, oh, I push rock. Cool. Flag is win. I need to go to the rock. Or I need to go to the flag. But it's like, oh, water is sink. No, and the flag is being blocked by this, so I need to move stuff around. Oh, it's so clever. It's so clever. But going into what I am going to call my tight and juicy game of the year.
Okay.
Because we're keeping this, we're keeping that theme alive, going into the next decade. Tight and juicy is staying around. A Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good pick.
I still haven't quite 100% it. I want to 100% it. It's so damn good. When people say Metroidvania game, this is 100% a Metroidvania game, and I'm okay with it. You can gun, you can slash, you can spell. My God, I was absorbed into this game. It is by far one of my favorite games I played this year, and well, I mean, it is because it's the top of the list. I don't think I can say negative things about this game. Except I think the only thing I didn't like was the hidden ending, which kind of hides like another 20% of the game of you don't do something specifically during the final boss fight. 20% of this game is not going to be for you. And it's because it hides a whole different area because you have to do a certain thing during a boss fight, and which is fine. It makes it like oh, I want to go back and maybe I find this. And if you pay attention to the story and everything going on, you're gonna know to do this. But it's the one thing I didn't exactly appreciate.
It's a very Japanese thing to do. Like
Exactly.
yeah, very Japanese feature.
Hide some game behind this, but it made replayability so much better. Of like, oh my God, this is something I missed before. Oh, how did I not find? And like there was new abilities and new this that was hidden behind that. It's like, oh hell yeah, okay, yeah, this is cool. So yeah, my tight and juicy game of the year, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
All right, we're achieving the tight and juicy Steam Release Podcast Award. The Tommy Award goes to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Congratulations. Very prestigious.
Dewey to say tight and juicy. I'm so happy.
All right, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
So my first, so of the 5 games I would say that were very notable, in no particular order again, but starting with the Pyramid of Prophecy DLC for Heroes of Hammerwatch, which came out in March 2019. A very worthwhile pickup. I enjoyed this greatly with me and my cousins. We had just finished the Heroes of Hammerwatch core game, and this was an excellent addition. It's a great game, honestly. It is significantly more difficult than the base game, though, so it's not very efficient for farming, but we do try to jump in every now and then and challenge ourselves. So it's a great addition to the game. So now, getting off, all the other was not DLC. Getting off the DLC, it's our next title I'd like to mention is Short Hike. So I guess my number 4 would be Short Hike. I have not gotten to play this game yet, but it has been so overwhelmingly praised, and it's just captivating to me. It is also available in non-DRM form from the Humble store. Well, if you have a Humble Monthly or something, it's just in the vault, so you can get it free. So there's no excuse why I haven't played it. Just need to get in and play this game. It is beautiful. It's got an excellent soundtrack. It's got that Nintendo 3DS or Nintendo DS kind of look to it. It's 3D art, but it's pixelized, so it's just beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful game. And I feel an obligation to check it out because it is one of the highest rated games on Steam. The first game that has been mentioned by 2 people on the show for their top 5 is Baba Is You. Baba Is You was, again, I've only seen people stream it, and it's just fascinating to watch people try to figure it out. It is so unique and weird, and it's gonna stretch you mentally, and it's worth watching or playing. So I really do need to pick this up. Baba Is You kind of set a new standard for what a puzzle game can be. So yeah, and perhaps no surprise to folks that know me. And number 3, Mow Astray. The look, the music, the macabre beauty of this title, and the cute slime that you play, all fascinating. And there's a great story behind it too. And also huge kudos to the dev for they have on their dev blog on Steam, they list like all the art and all the different concept arts of how all the different characters would have looked, but they decided against some things, other things. So they show their iterative process, which is very interesting.
Very.
It has a cool sort of where you jump and you have to direct where your next jump is going kind of mechanic. So yeah, I've not played this game, but I do need to. It is on my wish list, very much so. It has an excellent soundtrack. Excellent soundtrack. Which I've listened to many hours to on YouTube, actually. So, but yeah, Mow Astray. And my final of the 5 that I'm going to mention is Katana Zero.
Yeah.
This game.
This would have been on my show. If we did a top 10, this was on my short list to the top 5.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So a combination of the story, the sort of cyberpunk setting, and the very quick iterative where even if you mess up, it doesn't take you that far back. You get to try again and again and again and again. It's very quickly iterative. And it is really, really a stunning, beautiful game that I need to check out, honestly, because I haven't gone to play. But all that is leading up to, what is my game of the year? How am I going to wrap this all up? And getting the prestigious Dewey Award is Slay the Spire.
Yes.
Yep. This came out in January of this year. And what's really neat is it sort of brought... I don't think... This game mode didn't originate. This sort of like card-based RPG dungeon crawler kind of thing. This did not originate this genre. I've seen this game type before. But... what I think it did do is it popularized it. It sort of brought it into the mainstream, was Slay the Spire. And to the degree that people were referring to this game type as Slay the Spire type games.
Yeah.
And I think like any game, and since I have A, played it, and B, it is the only indie game that I can think off the top of my head this year that is so clearly defined a genre. I can't think of one. There's so many amazing games and probably genre-defining games that I'm just not aware of. But in my space, the games I've played, yeah, Slay the Spire is up there. It is an excellent game. if you just want to like exercise your brain a bit and you're not feeling well, it's just an awesome game, and it's coming to mobile, so your life will be ruined pretty soon. It's a great game. It's a great game. It feels really satisfying when you get farther than you ever could before. So yeah, Slay the Spire receives the Dewey award from the Steam Release Podcast.
Yay!
Yep.
What's been everyone's game that they've been interested in this week on our list?
Oh yes, the best of the week. We still have that.
Yeah, best of the week.
That is actually hard. I was like thinking of the best of the year, but looking at the list,
I know it's not out yet, but not for broadcast. I'm definitely gonna check that one out because I really want to see that one. Otherwise, I might be sitting a little bit over onto Budget Cuts 2. It looks a lot more like the first, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Budget Cuts 2.
Yeah. I think though, seeing the one's a demo, I don't want to make that my big one. It's either Budget Cuts 2 is going to be my one for the list of the week, or Virgo versus the Zodiac.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick up from you and just say, yeah, Virgo versus the Zodiac, which I put on my wish list because it looks so neat, and I kind of like the idea of playing a protagonist that's maybe not the greatest of people. She's like, no, you all have to obey me, kind of thing. But yeah, so it's just neat themes, and it's just a beautiful, cool style, and you kind of build your party, etc. It's a cool game. And there's one other game I really want to have. Oh, Rockwood Academy, yes.
Oh, yes.
That's the other game I would say is my best of the week.
You mean Mars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to figure that out. But I would want to check it out for a little sort of a story-based card game.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about you, Miss Rhode? What you got?
So, I might check out Vampire the Masquerade. That might be interesting, although I am worried that it's not enough interaction of a visual novel. You know, it's not a quality visual novel, although, you know, the artwork certainly seems to be.
And are you familiar with Vampire the Masquerade already? Because it seems like this might be like almost like a side story off some of the characters that I don't know if you need like a familiarity with.
No, so and that'd be interesting to find out actually, because the Vampire Masquerade is was it Coteries of New York? So yeah, it's if it's something that people who've not played it can just jump in, and just like pick it up, and they say, oh, this is interesting, maybe I want to play their main game. So yeah, I think you know, I want to see. Be interesting to find out. I
suspect it will be made that way, just because it's a storied franchise, but it has not had an official entry in a long time. So I do suspect that they made this game as sort of so that people have sort of a lore entry into the world of Vampire the Masquerade.
I'd be curious to find out.
Yeah. So there's that one, and I think I you've called this the demo. I never consider these demos. I always feel these like are sort of games on themselves, but like lead on to something else. Like Backbone had a prologue, and this is not for broadcast prologue. So I never see them as demos. I see them as their own sort of like little games that we can. So yeah.
I didn't mean anything negative by it. I was just like, well, this is a demo-ish for another game, so maybe I want to throw more attention to something that's finished. So eventually, when that one comes out, I'll give it its moment too.
Yeah, I always see like demos, like especially because I go to a lot of conventions, gaming conventions, and it's like they've taken already things in the game and just like say, oh, this is like the game, pretty much. This is the game. So, whereas without changing like the story or anything. So yeah. But it actually would be interesting to see if that is the case, if it's its own story, and then when the main game is like a different story that you play to. So yeah. But yeah, I like FMV games. I've got a big love for it. So I'm very curious. I'm very curious.
Oh, we've got a big love for you.
Thank you.
Ugh, that's a lot of sap, but it's okay.
We love you too, Dewey.
Oh, I'm getting drenched in sap.
Oh, this is getting tight and juicy. I'm gonna break him. I'm breaking him today. This is happening.
Thank you very much, everyone, for checking out this Steam Release podcast. We had a great week, a very weird week with a lot of interesting games. Please, folks in chat, let us know what you thought of the games that we had. And of course, the VOD will be up soon. I know last week's VOD is not up yet. It's taking time to get that ready. Between all the other stuff that's happening. But yeah, I've also had export issues. But it should be all resolved, so it should be up today, and then I'll get to work on this one. So
yeah,
I actually have a free day.
Leave a comment down below. What is your game of the year? What is your indie game of the year? I'm curious. I had a prediction for these two, and I nailed both of those. But I'm curious what other people had thought. Oh, Slay the Spire for you was easy.
Yeah, that was pretty easy.
Yeah, that was real easy. Rhode, I was wondering if it was gonna hit it or not, but I had a feeling.
I think it's because a lot of the games I play, I bought like a while ago or something, or they've been on my wish list for a while, and I'll pick them up in a sale when I've cleared enough games. So yeah, it's very rare that I will pick up something in the current year and actually play it in the current year.
Yeah.
So.
Indeed, that's the thing. It was hard for me to pick one because I've only played a half dozen games that came out this year. I've played like 24 2018 games this year though. Yeah. When I picked them up. So that's just how it is. Like we're not up to date in releases.
I put almost 100 hour in Celeste. Yeah, there's a reason the DLC pops up.
Yep. Yeah.
So, and talking about completed games. So at the beginning of this year, I had completed 168 games. I now stand on 206 completed games.
Damn, good job, bro.
You're gonna start running low on games you haven't touched.
No. I have 600 games. I've completed 206 of them. So yeah, plenty to get through, and plenty on my wish list as well.
And was your wallet hurting on Black Friday?
I picked up only a few like very cheapo games, like a lot of the hidden object games, and I've completed like 4 of them so far. Nice. So yeah, it's like My Brother Rabbit and King Aaron and stuff, and yeah. So I've got another. Actually, I've completed 2, and I've got another 2 to complete. One of them, the one with the Madame. What was it? Barbara. Barbara. The cat lady. I've got to complete that one.
Oh, Barbara Lepeur.
Barbara Lepeur. Yeah, so
that's hard to say. It really is.
Yeah. And I've got Chronicles of Magic which is I'm doing that. So yeah, but yeah, it's like when it comes to the sales, I try to remind myself that I've still got a lot of games to get through. So I'm sure there's going to be some kind of Christmas sale or end of year sale going on Steam. So I'm going to see how many games I can get through while I've got time off, because we're going to be away, and I'm just going to be playing games on Steam.
Yep.
Yeah. The anticipated winter sale is December 19th through the 1st or the 2nd is the last rumored drop date.
Right.
Yeah.
Couple of days.
Couple of days.
The
Nice.
yeah, and then let me see. As far as me, like we so just recently, my cousins has had Humble Bundle for a very long time, like a couple years now.
Oh boy.
He's had the Humble Monthly. And so
They
he
just changed that up too.
So he just went through his list of games that he hadn't redeemed because I mean he's just like, I don't want this game, I don't want this game, I don't want to clutter it up. So he went and contacted me and his other cousin and a few friends, and we basically went through our wish lists and just like he was just like, okay, you get that key and you get that key. And he was like, wait, I already own this. Why is this on my wish list? And then he adds that. So he just kind of went through and cleaned it out. And then I did the same thing with some of my games, but I still got like 8 games that I need to give away, so I got to figure out who wants them. But yeah, Humble Monthly, it can get overwhelming.
Yeah, and they just changed up how it worked if you didn't have the classic before. Now there's like a tiered thing to it where it's like at $10 you get to pick 3 out of 10 games to keep. At 14 you get 6, and at $20 you get 9 you get to keep out of the 10 curated games.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they just changed all that up. But if you had a Humble subscription before, there was a classic you could hold on to.
Yep. And so you get all 10 of the games just at the price point of $12 a month. So I halved my phone bill and I cut down a few things, and it's like, okay, I guess I can justify Humble Monthly now. So yeah. So now I'm really going to fall behind on my Steam list.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay. But with that, that's our show. Thank you very much to all the YouTube viewers. It's been awesome to have you. And we'll be back next year.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. We do read those comments, guys, so
yep,
definitely leave them.
And happy Christmas, happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah. Did Hanukkah hasn't happened yet. Yeah, so enjoy
22nd.
Happy Hanukkah. And
that starts the 22nd.
22nd, yes. And have a great winter season, and we'll be back in the 20s.
Yay.
I'll be in my 20s again? Hell yeah.
We'll be 20s, yay.
Thanks for promising that.
Well, I just hope fashion, like it'll cycle back and we'll have 1920s fashion again.
Oh, we already did though. We already did that.
Darn it.
Yeah. Yeah, the 1920s like dresses and stuff.
I don't know. Then what's going to come back now?
I just want to say flappers again.
Flappers.
Flappers.
Then we'll have like dance clubs and speakeasies. It'll be great. It'll awesome. No, probably not. But anyhow, toodles.
Bye.
And cut. That is the podcast. So yay.
Aw, we didn't even get to plug our own stuff.
Oh, I forgot about that.
You monster.
Well, make sure that you put it in the description.
Yeah, I've been good about putting the links in lately. So, yeah. Whoops.
Nah, no biggie.
We just had like the game of the word, so I got all mixed up. But that's okay.
Yeah. I was like, I'm like, man, we're going long anyway. I ain't gonna say a word.
Yeah, it's like 2:24. 2 hours and 24. That's not bad.
We did start a little bit late as well. Mm-hmm. So it's considering how much we crammed into my show today, it's not so bad.
We only have to do that once a year, so yay.
Yeah.
Oh, the January show is going to be brutal though. The first January show.
Yeah, we like this year we just like went boom with this one. Mm-hmm. There was that many.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, once we got to the point of like the like our top list, I'm like, I'm just gonna try to ramble as fast as I can and go through. And even like when Rhode started, I'm like, I kind of want to chime in on occasion, but it's like, nope. I just keep moving.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's an interesting list for everyone's top games. I think definitely we all had like some different things, which I loved. Yeah,
we and only 2 of us had a crossover.
Yeah, that was also kind of neat.
Dewey and I with Baba. Yeah. So I was happy. I was happy to see more games getting time to shine. I felt a little weird bringing up Untitled Goose Game because that thing it already has its moment in the sun.
Yeah,
so it's like,
crazy.
Man, it really brought more people in to look at indie games. So like I'm like, I gotta talk about that game in some aspect.
Yeah, it drives me insane whenever I hear someone talk about like, yeah, new games are coming out. It's like, are you insane? Like, and you know, these are the folks I know who buy the annual like COD game or something. And it's just like, you know how many great first person shooters there are that are, you know, from smaller studios? There's so many. There a new one, at least a new one comes out every week. Maybe not a good one, but a good one comes out every month. I will say that. A good first person shooter comes out every month at least.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah, they just don't look at other things besides whenever the big COD commercial starts coming around, or Modern Warfare, whatever there was a Tom Clancy that had a Little Wayne and little something in their advertisement. That's the only time they pay attention, when they have them on TV shows with Mountain Dew.
Yep.
Yeah, I was saying, oh, I love my indies. Yeah, it's I know someone who's got like 7 games on their Steamers. I said, well, I know what I like, and it's like, you know, that's great. I mean, you know, whereas I've got like 600 games, and I wonder if I'm ever going to get through them. Yeah, but it's I just like seeing these. I just love seeing these different kinds of games, and especially them being so story rich. And I say story rich for like grinding my teeth a little bit, because I hate that being like a category. But something like, you know, great narrative and gets me to use my grey matter a little bit and get, you know, thinking. I just
that tag is user defined over studio. Normally getting to say that's why, like, I love the user defined tags, even though people bomb games galore, and of course we still have the good old bombing culture, which is obnoxious. But like, oh, if I see like story rich in a user defined tag, I'm like, oh, this is probably a story rich game. Where if I go and read like the game's description, this game's fun and story rich, like no, don't describe your own game like that.
The one bright side is that because there's so many games that come out, the review bombers can only target so many.
Usually that falls more on AAAs anymore.
It's pretty much reserved for just the AAAs. Or if some, like, when it happens to indie, it's either like they said something that was not smart or something like that. Like their PR department made a big mistake.
Or they went Epic exclusive.
Oh yeah, that too.
That is where that it bothers me too, because Epic gives people a better cut. If you would tell me to go exclusive onto there, I could sign this deal for that. It's like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's the thing. I do wish that Steam would actually give the developers a better cut. They didn't take 30%. That's just ridiculous, because they still have like a big community buying the games and everything. You know, it's like the platform for these games, and yet, you know, they won't give the developers, and especially if it's one that doesn't, you know, it's like their first game, and maybe it's not made as big as waves. And I think, you know, it's such a big cut.
I don't know. Steam already just can print money, so.
Wolf Among Us 2 is going to Epic Game.
That's sad. Oh, I saw that being announced, and you know, I've got the Wolf Among Us, and I was just like, I'm looking forward to that, and then it's just like, oh.
Yeah, but I have it on Steam. I mean, I also have it on Epic Games, so I guess I'll just have to play it through on Epic Games. But I don't know. Do you transfer saves the same way?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Akio,
saves can transfer. I learned this with Fez.
All right.
Because I was like, because it was free over on Epic, and I didn't realize I had it on Steam. So I was like, oh crap, I've been playing it over here for a little bit. I'll boot it up over on Steam, because it would be. I like getting achievements. I'm weird like that.
No, same.
And it's like, okay, so I'll boot it up over here, and it was the second I did that, it had my save file. I was like, perfect, I'm not restarting, and all of a sudden it just gave me all the achievements already. I was like, oh hell yeah. So save files can move over properly. I can give you a first-hand experience.
Cool.
It wouldn't be a end of year podcast without Akio. Thanks for supporting us throughout the year, Akio, and we all enjoy your chats in the Steam chat.
Akio gets my tight and juicy chatter of the year award.
Okay. Yep. Hey, you know what? Let's go and Nate the Not Great is streaming right now.
Yes, we should give him a raid for sure.
Yep.
So thank you everyone for coming out and supporting us throughout this year and previous as well. But I hope to see you in the new year, and always pop in to see us or any of our streams that we do individually.
I spelled that wrong. All right, there we go.
Keep it tight and juicy.
Take care, everyone. Keep it tight and juicy.
No, wait, that's wrong. Why?
This was the last time I was ever allowed on the show.
Nate, TEH. Yeah, Nate. Not great.
There we go. All right, there we go. Yay. So thank you so much, everyone. Nate the Not Great is a friend of the show. Go check him out. He's playing a retro game right now. Might and Magic, I think.
Yeah, Might and Magic 7. Yes.
Nice.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Woo, bye.